All right, today we're going to cover West Africa and Central Africa here. We're here in Seterra again, but this is a learn-only mode, so we're going to make our way through some of the countries. So we've covered most of West Africa here through Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, and Guinea, but now we want to go ahead and click on the countries and learn our way through them. This one here happens to be Sierra Leone. Its capital is Freetown. And one time had been a Portuguese colony, had also been a colony in which slaves were one of the greatest commodities that had been shipped out from their shores. To the south and east of Sierra Leone, we have the country of Liberia. Liberia was created by certain groups within the United States that were looking for ways to free slaves. The flag of Liberia is very similar to that of the United States. Red, white, and blue, a union with a single white star in the corner. The capital is even named after an American president, James Monroe, so the capital is Monrovia. It's not unusual when visiting Monrovia to find high schools, hospitals, streets named after American presidents and different areas within the United States. If we move east of Liberia, we go to the Ivory Coast. It's also known as Côte d'Ivoire in French, and its capital is Yamoussoukro. I kind of mentioned in class not too long ago that many of these countries here are named after or had been named after different commodities that had been exported from their shores. Ivory Coast, of course, would have been shipping out ivory from elephants and hippopotamus teeth. Ivory Coast, or I prefer Côte d'Ivoire, is a country that is on the grow. It was rather devastated by the Ebola virus a few years back, but it has been on the mend. If we go east of Côte d'Ivoire, we can go to Ghana. Ghana is one of the countries in Africa that really has kind of taken off on its own. Ghana is governed from the city of Accra. It's there very prominent on the world soccer scene. They're known as the Black Stars, which is symbolic of the black star that's in the middle of their flag. Red, yellow, and green are the colors of their flag with a black star in the center. Ghana, from time to time, is looked to as a not just a growing economy, but as a stable economy in West Africa. One time, Ghana was a British colony known as the Gold Coast. If we go north of Ghana, we can go here to Burkina Faso, which is governed from Ouagadougou, one of the more fun capitals that we have in Western Africa. Burkina Faso had one time been known as Upper Volta, and largely due to the name of the river that runs through the area, the Volta River. Burkina Faso, being landlocked here in West Africa, does have some limitations when it comes to trade. It's very dependent on the Volta River and contact with its neighbors in the area. So we can go from Burkina Faso, and we can go here, and this is Togo. The capital of Togo is Lomé. Togo, once known as the Slave Coast, when it was a colony of the British. Togo experienced some problems with Ghana and had some issues with the Ebola virus, controlling their border between Ghana and Burkina Faso, a country that is truly one of the developing countries of West Africa. Benin, capital of Porto Novo. Benin, I often say when I'm making jokes about these things, have you been in Togo? Have you been in Burkina Faso? Have you been in Niger? Have you been in Nigeria? Ghana, if you want to learn these countries. So Benin, with its very wealthy neighbor Nigeria to the east, does have some access to petroleum reserves, and that can serve as the basis of their economy. As pointed out, we've already talked about Niger, the capital of Niamey. Niger I mention it here because of its neighbor to the south, which is Nigeria. Nigeria is Africa's most densely populated nation, has the highest population, most densely, not really, but the highest population of any of the countries in Africa. Nigeria is a former British colony, and it's governed from a new capital called Abuja. At one time, Nigeria had been governed from Lagos, but they made the switch just a few years back, and now Abuja tends to be their capital. BP, British Petroleum, has quite a presence in Nigeria, as oil is their number one export, and it's the basis for their economy. They do face a great deal of struggles with terrorist organizations that constantly try to attack pipelines and distribution centers throughout Nigeria. Boko Haram is the prominent terrorist organization in Nigeria. We talked about this one in class a little bit. The country shaped like I think as a kangaroo is actually Cameroon. Cameroon is governed from the city of Yaoundé. Cameroon has also been known for a very successful soccer program, especially coming out of the continent of Africa. Cameroon does face its struggles with being a developing country and a country that has a very corrupt government. If we go south from Cameroon, we can go to the only Spanish-speaking country in Africa, and that is Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is this area here, the rectangle on the west coast, south of Cameroon, and also this small island here. The capital of Equatorial Guinea is Malabo, and Equatorial Guinea had at one time been a colony of the Spanish. And it has retained the language of its colonizers, and it's the only official a country with the only official language of Spanish. It's not really even on the equator either. It's just a bit north of it. Here in the Gulf of Ghana, we have Sao Tome and Principe, former colonies of the Portuguese, and made up of two islands here. The two islands are Sao Tome and Principe. Sao Tome is the capital, and it holds the capital city for the two-island nation. We can go back to the mainland, and we can go here to Gabon, and a former French colony governed from Libreville, or literally means Freetown. Gabon and Gabon and Gabon, that's all they do is they talk about their freedoms. So there we go. From Gabon, we cross here into the Republic of the Congo. Now, sometimes just referred to as Congo. And so from Congo, it's governed from Brazzaville, and it does share a great deal of strife with its neighbor here, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is ruled from Kinshasa. Kinshasa at one time had been named Leopoldville after the King of Belgium, Leopold II. A country that was one time known as Zaire, and prior to that was known as the Belgian Congo. This country and one-time colony was especially important in the rubber trade. Rubber plantations made up a large portion of the country, and it is dominated by the largest river in Central Africa, the Congo River, which we have the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of the Congo named after. The final country that we'll talk about here in this particular grouping is here at the Central African Republic. And I think we've already mentioned it when we talked about Chad and South Sudan, but we just want to go ahead and group it together with these particular countries. The capital of Central African Republic is Bangui. And if I remember right, we talked about how it is one of the most dangerous and corrupt countries on the planet. Very close to having a failed government, similar to when we talked about Somalia here on the Horn of Africa on the East Coast. But so we'll look at this grouping right here. You may want to use Seterra in order to practice with these. I'll share the link for these particular group of countries so you can practice them, and maybe we'll have a bit of a quiz. All right. Well, you guys take care and be good, and we'll see what else we have for you as we continue our way through Africa.